Hello mathematicians, Miss Slyman here, and now we're going to sketch this graph. It's a cubic over a quadratic. So that tells me that my graph is going to look linear. So I know that my end behavior will have a linear asymptote. Let's figure out the equation of that asymptote. So, sorry, I'm going to do some long division. X squared minus 4 into x cubed plus 0x squared, 0x minus 1. So that's going to need an x, and that matches with what I thought with my linear idea. X cubed minus 4x. I'm going to subtract that quantity, so those will cancel. X squared comes down plus 4x, so that'll be plus 1. X squared minus 4. And then I'll subtract that quantity, and I'll get 4x plus 3. So this is going to be my remainder. So I know my equation is could be rewritten as x plus 1 plus 4x plus 3 over x squared minus 4. So y equals x plus 1 is going to be my slant asymptote. I know asymptotes are equations, so that's my equation. My vertical asymptotes are where the denominator equals 0. I know that factors into x plus 2, x minus 2. So x equals 2 and x equals negative 2 give me some vertical asymptotes. This also was a difference of cubes, so it factored into x minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1, but nothing canceled, so it doesn't really matter that that factors. So let's go ahead and draw in our asymptotes. And like I said in the previous video, I'm going to use a straight line just because that's easier for me to draw on this, but you should use a dashed line when you create your asymptotes. And then x plus 1 is going to start here and continue on. And I know that really my asymptote, my slant asymptote, is just the end behavior. So I'm really thinking about my ends. Oops, there. Out this way. So we've got something like this. And I would label all those equations. Negative 2, 2, y equals x plus 1. All right, let's think about intercepts. When x equals 0, my y value will be negative 1 over negative 4, so that's going to be positive 1/4. To set this equal to 0, now I do care how it factors. So that is x minus 1, x squared plus x plus 1. I know that that doesn't factor anymore. B squared minus 4ac is negative, so that has imaginary roots. So I only have one place, so just fully factoring everything, only one place where the y value will be 0, and that's when x is 1. So there's my x-intercept, 1, 0, and then at a 4th 0, I had my y-intercept. Remember in the middle here, this slant asymptote isn't really telling me anything. The slant asymptote is my end behavior. So I'm going to think about a sign chart, and the important values on my sign chart are going to be for very negative values of x. So I've got x going towards negative infinity. I've got x values that are close to my negative 2. So close to negative 2, and I'm approaching either from the left side or the right side. So before I called that, I didn't actually specify that in my sign chart. So I'm going to specify it here, and I'm going to say negative 2, and I'm going to put a negative there to show I'm coming from the negative side. I care about values in the middle here. So I care about what's happening close to this side because I want to know, am I negative infinity or positive infinity? So I'm going to call that negative 2 from the right side. I care about positive 2 from the left side. So again, this is going to be my left side, so I want to know, is it negative infinity or positive infinity? I care about positive 2 from the right side, and then I also care about x values as they're getting really big. So let's think about what's happening. Here I like to use my factored form. So I had x minus 1, x squared plus x plus 1 over x minus 2, x plus 2. And I like the factored form because it's easy for me to know positives and negatives. So when I think about really negative values of x, I might, actually in this case, I might care more about this form. So I've also got x plus 1, 4x plus 3 over x squared minus 4. All right, so really negative values of x. Well, I look like this. Really negative values of x mean that my numerator will be negative and my denominator will be positive. Because when I square that really big negative number, I'm going to get a positive that's greater than 4. So that means I'm going to have my x plus 1 value, and then I'll subtract just a little bit. So I'm going to be under the asymptote because I had my whatever this value was, and I subtracted a little bit more. So I had my slant asymptote minus a little tiny bit, so minus a bit. So that tells me I'm going to be on this side of the asymptote, underneath it. Now, as I get closer to my negative 2 from the left, now I'm going to think about my sign chart. I'm going to have a negative. That value will be, let's see, so if I took negative 3, I would have positive 9 minus 3. For sure that part is going to be positive. Here I'll have a negative, and negative 2 from the left is going to be like negative 2.1, so plus 2, that's still going to be negative. Overall, negative times positive over negative times negative is a negative value. So now on this side, I'm going to go towards negative infinity. On the other side, so now I'm looking over here, I'll still have negative, I'll have a positive, and I'll divide by a negative times, in this case, I'll have a positive value there. So this is going to be positive overall. So on this side, I'm at positive infinity. I know that I'm going to go through my y-intercept, and now the question is, do I hit the x-intercept and bounce back up, or do I head to this direction? So thinking about positive 2 from the left, well, this is going to be positive times positive over, this number is going to be just less than 2, so that'll be a negative, and this will be positive. So that's going to be negative, so I must go through my intercept and go down. On the other side of 2, now I'm going to have positive, positive. This time that value will be positive. So now I'm at positive infinity. And now the question is, do I cross over my asymptote and come up, or do I stay above my asymptote? So now I'm going to look at this equation. It's going to look like the slant asymptote, except now I'm going to have all positive numbers. So I'm going to have plus a little bit, which tells me I'm going to be above the slant asymptote. So I'm not going to cross it, I'll stay above it, and that's what my function is going to look like.